Hey guys, I'm Amy. Welcome to Become Your Own Favorite Chef. Have you ever had creme brulee before? Have you ever thought, this is so amazing, there's no way I could ever make this at home? That's what most of us think when we eat creme brulee. But I promise you, I want to show you how easy creme brulee truly is. And I'm going to give you a couple hints or little secrets of mine that'll make this the best creme brulee you have ever had. And that's a promise. Let's get started. Okay, first thing before I teach you the steps, I want to let you know I am making a double batch of creme brulee because I'm making some for about 20 people tomorrow. A normal batch of this creme brulee will feed at least 6 people very comfortably. So with a normal batch, you would first want to heat on medium heat 32 ounces or a quart of heavy whipping cream. Don't skimp out and do half and half for milk, it's not going to work. To that, go ahead and add 1 cup of sugar. And then over that medium heat, stirring occasionally for about 15 minutes, you're just going to let that heat through until the sugar is dissolved. You don't want this to boil, the milk can curdle. You just want to keep it warm enough to melt that sugar. Once that's done, turn your heat off, and then we're going to add our flavor. Now I love this to be really intense and sweet and taste like vanilla, so I'm going to put 3 tablespoons of vanilla in. And for this recipe, you can use the darker version of vanilla, but I like the clear version because it keeps it pure white. Now you can leave it alone with that, but if you want to make this really amazing, my secret ingredient is 1 tablespoon of almond extract, or imitation almond extract works fine too. This is not going to make it taste like almonds. What this is going to do is just give it a little extra something unique and different and delicious. That's going to make everyone think this is the best creme brulee I've ever had in my life. So we're going to stir that together. Again, the heat is off. And while this cools down just a little bit, we're going to move on to our next step. Okay, the next step is to separate 11 eggs. These are large eggs. If you've never separated an egg before, it's very easy. Over your bowl of whites, you want to crack it. Just bring that yolk back and forth until the white's out. Dump your yolk. The shell goes in the trash. Got just one more. And this is going to be a little different from other recipes. In fact, this is a funny story. The first time I made creme brulee, I was following the instructions of a Paula Deen creme brulee recipe. And she said to separate the eggs and use the egg yolks to make your creme brulee. I goofed and accidentally used the egg whites and thought, well, I already messed everything up. I don't want to go to the store again. I'll cook it and just see what happens. It ended up being absolutely delicious. And so the next time I made creme brulee, I made it the correct way with the egg yolks, and I totally liked it better with the egg whites. The main difference between those two, the egg whites are not only healthier, if that matters, but it makes a lighter flavored and lighter textured custard. And a lot of people are texture freaks and they don't like that really thick, dense, mushy type of custard. This will help those people love creme brulee. If you still love that dense custard, it still tastes like custard. It still has a good texture. It's just a little smoother and lighter. So this is up to you. I encourage you at least try it with egg whites one time. I think you'll enjoy it. And also, you can save your egg yolks this way for my blender hollandaise recipe, which if you haven't checked out, is delicious. So what we're going to do is I'm going to give these egg whites just a quick whisk, start integrating them together. You're not wanting to whip these into soft peaks or anything. We're just making sure they're incorporated well. And then we're going to temper our eggs. This is a very important key to making custard or creme brulee. Tempering eggs means that you slowly take your warm cream and sugar and vanilla mix that we just made, and you slowly add it to the eggs so that they get used to the temperature and they don't scramble. If you added this whole thing of cream to your eggs, you would get scrambled eggs. So we're gently going to turn our beater on, slowly temper the eggs. And just a little bit, like 6 or 8 ounces is enough to temper it. I can now add the rest of that cream in. So we're going to add the rest of the cream, make sure it's all mixed up, and that's as hard as it gets. After that, I'll show you how I add it to ramekins and get it ready for the oven. Obviously, I'm making a lot of creme brulee. Again, you'll make about half this amount. Just try to find any oven-safe ramekins or small bowls. Pretty ugly, doesn't matter. It's going to be delicious. And I use something with a spout to just pour our custard into these. And if there's a little bit left, fill the stuff to the top. You don't want to waste any of it, trust me. So this looks good. Now the tricky part is adding water to these pans and getting them to the oven. So what we've got here is a big thing of water. What we're going to do is make a bath for the custard to bake in. And this is going to allow it to cook evenly and perfectly. And we need to fill these up to at least halfway up these ramekins. So as you notice, in different pans, I've got about the same size and height. This is going to help everything cook the same amount of time. So we're going to add some water to this one about halfway up. Same thing here. And then I've got a sheet pan, like a cookie sheet, of some much flatter versions of our creme brulee for the people that are coming over that aren't sure if they like it or not. So I'm going to fill those up about halfway as well. Perfect. Next, open your oven. It should be preheated to 350 degrees. Carefully place these into the oven for about 30 minutes. Now the timing totally depends on the size of the ramekin. Like these little bitty ones are going to cook a little faster. The big ones are going to take a little bit longer to cook. I'll show you when mine are ready exactly what to do to know if they are ready to take out of the oven or not. So wish me luck. So it's been 30 minutes that the creme brulee's been in the 350 degree oven, and our little shallow dishes are perfectly done. The other dishes I'm going to let cook another 5 minutes and they should be about finished. But again, the way to truly know is the jiggle secret. So if you zoom in for me here, once these come out of the oven, and this is still hot, if it barely jiggles, do you see that jiggle? Just kind of in the middle. You don't want it to jiggle too much, because then it might be too liquidy. And if it doesn't jiggle at all, you're going to thicken up your texture and it'll start to curdle a little bit. So that slight jiggle in the middle is all you're looking for. Take them out of the heat, put some saran wrap on them, throw them in the refrigerator for at least 6 hours. Overnight's even more perfect. And what that's going to do is it's going to solidify that custard, make it that perfect, smooth, creamy texture. And then tomorrow, when these are ready to be eaten, I'll show you how to sugar them up and we can enjoy. Okay, it's been 6 hours, so we can eat. The last step that you want to wait till the last minute to do is make your sugar crust to make this a creme brulee. So let's take just a little bit of sugar, and you can make this thin if you're not wanting too much sugar. I like a little bit of a thicker crust, but you don't want it too thick because you don't want to break your teeth. You also want to make sure that you don't see your custard. Make sure your sugar is at least that thick, because what could happen is when we fire this up, you could actually burn the custard underneath. So there are little creme brulee lighters that you can get at little kitchen stores, but those do not do it for me. They take way too long, they're not strong enough. This is the baby I use. You can get any of these at any local store. And we'll light this up. If you want to zoom in and watch the magic. This will take a while and you will need to be patient, but you just want to evenly coat the sugar with the flame until it slowly turns brown and crusted. Now, Drew makes these even prettier than I do, but once everything is melted, As tempting as it is to dive right in, you would burn your tongue on the sugar. So stick it in the fridge or freezer for at least 5 minutes. However, you never want to leave this sugar-coated creme brulee in the fridge overnight or for a few hours, because that crispy crust will go from really crunchy to really soggy and kind of gross. So I'm going to put this in the fridge for 5 minutes, and then I'm going to finally get to eat this amazing creme brulee I've been waiting all day on. Okay, hope that 5 minutes pays off. Here's the magic. You ready to hear this crunch? Yes. All right, so our crust worked out, but you really want to make sure that your custard is creamy and the most delicious thing you've ever tasted. So here it goes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. If you can see that custard in the middle, I'm going to put a little bit more for you. It's light, still custardy. It definitely tastes like vanilla, but there's that little bit of a hint of almond extract. And it's just the most creamy, decadent, rich thing I've ever eaten. I love it. It's my favorite thing ever. Man, please try this recipe. Please. It's my ultimate secret recipe. One of the most exciting recipes I'm making a video about ever. So give it a shot. Thanks for watching and enjoy.